All right, we getting some feisty feedback in the comment section. We getting some feisty feedback. And it's crazy because there was two ways that yesterday's game against the Giants, the outcome from some of the fan base. One way was that we lose and there's a total meltdown. And two is that we win and there is still some questions. And if you've been watching any of my channels, you know that I am beyond everybody. I got one person in my crosshairs metaphorically, and that is Brad Holmes. Brad Holmes has done a tremendous amount. I cannot give him praise enough, 100%. He's taken help, take this team from the gutter to a playoff contending team. And the fact that we're hearing the word Super Bowl with the Detroit Lions is outstanding. We went from a joke to giving the smoke in a very short time. But that's only half the battle. Shout out to G.I. Joe, the 80s, and my childhood. Shout out to Gen X, bro. Pre-internet, best generation to me in the last 200 years. But that's just me. I could be biased. That's only half the battle. The other half of the battle is getting to the Super Bowl and winning it. I think that a pass rusher would help us do that. You want to blame Josh Reynolds? I blame not having somebody opposite Aiden who can actually get to the quarterback. We had Romeo Okwara. It was the opposite DN. I don't even know what his stats were that year. But we're talking about Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell getting extensions. And I'm going to ask the chat, what do you think that has to be done from Brad and or Dan to get an extension past 2027? If you don't know, Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell were given two different deals. Remember, the Lions had a consulting firm. They fired Matt Patricia in the middle of the season. If I was a NFL owner and I knew I was going to part ways with my coach at the end of the season and my team was out of playoff contention, I would fire that guy mid-season. Because after watching what you can get a massive head start on the progress, the process of hiring a coach and how it turned out for the Lions. I would use them as my barometer for, hey, the Lions did it mid-season, and by January, when everybody was looking for a coach, we had one. And he wasn't a guy that was a head coach. He wasn't a guy that we was waiting to get fired. He wasn't even like a coordinator that we were waiting to hire, right? Like one of these guys like Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, a guy who's been in the coaching, you're hearing his name a lot. But what is it going to take for them to earn their second extension? They did earn their first one after getting the team in 2023 was outstanding. Not only did we win the NFC North for the first time in its existence, we won and hosted our first playoff game at Ford Field. Okay? We beat our former quarterback, and we went all the way to the NFC Championship game. After that year was over, they earned an extension. It's called doing your job good, getting rewarded as such. Now, it's been 2 years since that. Well, 2 football seasons almost. The end of this year will be 2. Lions are still in Super Bowl contention until they're not, right? Meaning, got to get to the playoff. Right now, they're on the outside looking in with 6 games to go. They got 3 division opponents. 2 of them are in the playoffs, the Green Bay Packers and the Bears. So they have to beating them is the number one priority. Got to sweep the Bears, split with the Packers, split with the Vikings, because when it's all said and done, that will help. That will help. But the question that I have for you is when should Sheila extend Brad and or Dan? What would they have to do if you were Sheila? Would they have to progress further than they did in 2023? Would they have to equal that? Or would they have to progress from last year when we went 5-2 and got eliminated in the playoffs, when we had attrition as an excuse? What do they have to do? For me, and this might shock you, but for me, it's not all about getting to the Super Bowl. If it were up to me, and it's not, I'm just saying, a lot of y'all happy about that. But if I'm Sheila, I love what Brad has done to this team. First of all, Brad is my number one. He's my number one. Dan, love the guy. Love the guy. Dan stands up there, takes it when he makes a mistake. You know, I will keep Dan. That's just me. Don't forget, these guys were not hired together. They didn't come in as a package deal, right? That's what I mean by not hired together. So for me, I need to see progress, but it's not just about record or how far we go in the playoffs. I need to see that you, as a general manager, see the deficiencies on your team and are willing to address them properly. If you fail and you made a move, I might be able to live with that depending on what move it was, right? If you traded for Myles Garrett, no one would be mad. If he got hurt, everybody would blame you. That's the price you pay. But nobody would be upset with that. The first two words that's going to come out of your mouth that you can say on the internet or in front of your kids, because the first two words you couldn't say, right? The second two words you're going to say, put it in the comment section. What is the first phrase, the first two words, or the second two words that you're going to say if the Lions were to have traded for Myles Garrett? What are you going to say? Super Bowl. Everyone in this chat, everybody would say it. It's Super Bowl. Cohen says he would say, let's go. And then after you say it, let's go, you're going to say, let's go. We're going to the Super Bowl. Those are the first two things you're going to say, right? So what I need to see, it's not even about how far they go because things happen. For you to get to the Super Bowl, everything has to fall in place perfectly. You literally have to be perfect to make it to the Super Bowl. So it's not necessarily about making the Super Bowl. It is, you got to show me that you are not comfortable being content. That's what I need to see from you. So if I'm Sheila Ford, or Sheila Hemp, I apologize. If I'm Sheila Hemp, she dropped the Ford. If I'm Sheila Hemp, I say, Brad, Dan, you've done a tremendous job. Back in 2023, here's where we were. We seem to be going a little backwards. I need to know, how are we going forward? What is your plan? That's it. And I have a separate conversation. I have one with Dan, and I tell Dan, and I have another one with Brad. Well, Brad, why didn't we make it? Because y'all remember now, Sheila don't know nothing, right? She's not like a football mind or anything like that. So she was asking Brad if this is a good pick. She trusts Brad Holmes, right? So she's like, is this a good pick? Brad's like, blah, 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 blah. Yes, it is. So if I'm Brad, I need to know what we doing. If I'm Sheila, I'm saying, why didn't we make a move at a trade deadline? What are we doing? What's happening? Right? I ask about Broderick Martin. I'm sorry. I ask, so Brad, what happened here? What happened here? Or at least I have my football people do it. What did you see to make you trade up for Broderick Martin? If I am Sheila Hemp, I am asking about Isaac Tesla. Why did we trade Tim Patrick? What's going on here? That's just me. So for me, what I need to see is I need to see progression. And I need to see, that's what I need to see. If you look at the Rams, and this is the biggest slap in the face that I think for the Detroit Lions. The Rams are playing outstanding football. Shout out to C-Pool because he keeps dropping the knowledge. The Lions had 2 first-round picks, took them away from the Rams. Well, were given by the Rams their 2 first-round picks. On top of that, the Rams didn't have first-round picks because of Jalen Ramsey. And then they decided to give the next 2 for Matthew Stafford. And both of those individuals did what, ladies and gentlemen? Helped them win a Super Bowl. They helped them win a Super Bowl. They then had a down year, which got us Jahmyr Gibbs. And then they picked up right where they left off. We put them out of the playoffs. Y'all was scared of Matthew Stafford. Y'all was debating, should we wear his jersey? Should we cheer? Should we tribute him when we trying to win our first playoff game? The year after that, they are a Jalen Carter sack away from going to the next round, the NFC Championship game. And they would have beat the Washington Commanders 100%. And they would have been the team in the Super Bowl. And now Stafford, the year after that, MVP frontrunner, has thrown 27 touchdowns with no interceptions and is definitely on a Super Bowl trajectory, is currently the #1 seed in the NFC. And they did all this without first-round picks for 4 consecutive years. 4 consecutive years. It might have been 6, but I know it was 4. All that while we are debating and we are, so if I am Sheila Hemp, I need to know, how do you get us there? How do you get us there, Brad? That's what I need to know. And then after that, I make my decision. That's what I do. And let me ask you this, chat. Right now, Brad and Dan are here through 2027. How long, if you were to have that conversation with Brad and Dan, how long do you extend them? Because here is something that we need to think about. All right? Here's something we need to think about. The way, and I think this was done on purpose, the way that Jared Goff's contract is set up, let's not forget that Brad Holmes, who makes the personnel decisions, was the one that decided not to draft a quarterback, okay? Because, I'm sorry, Hendon Hooker is the only quarterback drafted under Brad and Dan, and he's not on the team anymore. I don't even know if he's actually in the NFL. I know he was trying out or maybe been signed to a practice squad. I don't remember. But if I'm Brad, I'm saying to myself, I'm like, if I'm Sheila, I'm trying to figure out, how are we going forward? What are we going to do? So right now, how long would you decide to extend? If you were to sit down and have that conversation with Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, and you like what you heard, how long would you give them? They're here through 2027. This is what I was going to say. Jared Goff, his contract, to me, was done the way it was done on purpose. Because after the Lions have a potential out, after his 3rd year of new money, that is the exact year that Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes are done when their contracts are up. And if neither one of them was to come back, the Lions, the new regime, could draft their own guy. I think that's why the Lions have a potential out, because it puts Jared Goff, Brad Holmes, and Dan Campbell all connected. They all came at the same time. They all could go at the same time. So for me, I have that if we fall short of a Super Bowl win, we all good. I'm extending you on the spot. A Super Bowl appearance, I'm going to extend you. I'm going to give you another year. Super Bowl appearance, I'm going to give you another year. So you'll have 3. Super Bowl win, I'm giving you another 3. You will have 5. Y'all both here for 2 years. Anything short of that, I'm having a conversation in the offseason. I want a plan, because we blinked our eye, ladies and gentlemen, and it's been 5 years. We're going into year 6. I want a plan. I want to know how you're getting it done. I want to see it in action, and then we go from there. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. We'll see, man. But that's a shame. We're talking about all this after a win. It's how we won. We should have blown the Giants out. There's no doubt about it. But let me know your thoughts.